Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. And in this episode, we're giving you our review for Extraction 2, now streaming on Netflix, starring Chris Hemsworth. This one is a really fun one, guys. I think you guys should definitely check this out. But without further ado, Dylan, why don't you give us your thoughts?
Great film, mate. No, it was awesome. I love the first one. I love the fighting in the first one, and they definitely upped the ante in the second one. I feel like this one was more focused on the action than the story. There were, like, you know, personal moments, and this is a more personal mission for Tyler Rake. But it's very centered around action, and I love the single shot takes of the fighting scenes. They're just so smooth. It's like you're watching like a video game, like camera work. That's how smooth this direction is. But yeah, what did you think of this movie? Yeah,
well, what you're saying is it's very immersive. I think they upped the ante from the first movie. Remember that whole car chase? They even made it better here. It was so long. The train sequence was amazing. I just love how the choreography is. Chris Hemsworth is amazing, along with the other cast members as well. I think they really shine in this movie, especially because a lot of people who weren't really featured that much in the first movie got their time and the sunshine right in this movie, and it was amazing through and through. I think it's a hell of experience. Yeah, definitely fun for sure.
Yeah, it was awesome. My favorite fight has to be the prison courtyard fight.
Oh yeah,
it feels so much like a mix of like the Kingsman church scene mixed with like John Wick. It was so fluid, and just like it's hard to nail good fight scenes because a lot of fight scenes now are like very short because they have to be very quick with, you know, the choreography. But it was a very like elongated shot, and it was so smooth. And, you know, shout out to what's his name, Chris Hemsworth for you know, such a good performance. This is one of like my favorite action characters in the genre.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, there's like a stoicism to his performance, especially in the action sequences. There's like a raw power, but it's very, I think, direct and focused as well. So it makes him a worthy opponent to the Georgian crime family. We're introduced to these new set of villains, I'd say, for this universe. So let me get your thoughts on the villains.
Yeah, I love how they like go to these very like corrupt countries, and we really see like how evil these people are. Like the first movie did a really good job of showing like, you know, the corruption of like India and Bangladesh and how they're using like child soldiers. Here we see like Georgian, like they're, you know, the crime families they basically own the whole country, they said, and there's almost like a cult status, right? They believe they're like warriors of God almost. And it's run by these two brothers, David and Zarab. And it was sad because, well, so the story basically was that Tyler's ex, her sister was trapped in this jail, and the sister was the wife of the crime boss, David. And it was so sad to see like how the kids got involved in this, and the son had almost like this like Stockholm syndrome where like he really believed his father was like protecting them, but he was actually like abusing them, and then they were trying to get them out of there. And I love that whole prison sequence where they got them out, and it felt like watching like a Daredevil like sequence. It was just so smooth. But yeah, they really upped the ante with the villains in this one.
Yeah, I think so too. It's double trouble, right? It's the two brothers. Well, at least, so this is a spoiler review, yeah. So one perishes, well, I want to say David, but David perishes, and so Zarab is the main, and I think his character actually is really complex. I like that his character is also nuanced because they show flashbacks to his childhood, and his brother he needs to take care of his brother, and the father instilled that into these two children, that they had to take care of each other, especially in a war-torn country. They're all they have left, and it's really sad. Like, he even lost his hearing due to his father slapping him in the side of the head. So I could see why he's so addicted to trying to get this revenge. And I think that's a cool thing to play with. There was a scene when he was in a car and he took out the hearing aids, and he hears his father It's like that's what he keeps thinking of. He keeps remembering that. So you mix that, plus they twist religion to suit themselves, and then I think you have a recipe for disaster. It's kind of like, in a way, their own version of a Taliban, right? So it's really interesting how they did that. But I think he's a great villain all the way around, and the plethora of guys that they go through. I mean, I like that they have this faction that it's like this army, it's this cult. I think that's really cool. That's really cool to play with. I love how
it's like a private army almost. What do you think of some of like the gear and weaponry? Because I know you're a big gunhead yourself.
You guys know, yeah.
If you guys couldn't tell.
No, I love it. Daniel, I tell you what, Bravo Company always comes in clutch. They came in clutch with the Terminalist. They came in clutch with this one. I saw some eel tech, and then plus the reflectors there. I thought, again, beautiful weapons all the way around. I love the AK designs as well. So I think they're shooting like 5 point something. It's not 7.62. It's like something else because they're in Georgia. Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, though, I don't know where to get in these weapons, the black market, but damn, could they get some gear?
Tyler, I think, even had like a submachine gun on the train.
Sure, yeah.
One scene.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
He had, they showed like 2 instances of the Saw machine gun, and they also showed Tyler with a nice Glock. Actually, my Glock is kind of customized like his, so I actually like that. It's really practical. Even some of the knife stuff was cool. They had like a lot of tomahawk-ish type of weaponry for melee. So all around, I think it has a pretty unique aesthetic, like that stands apart from, let's say, John Wick, because that's more like competition shooting. Here, it's more practical, utilitarian. I'd consider it kind of the same, like the Terminalist, if you will. Both of these like things seem like they could coexist in the same universe, especially the way how they maneuver.
Yeah, for sure. And I also I love the adaptability and the realism that these movies have, because it's like, when you're out of bullets and you don't have any weapons on you, you kind of have to adapt. And there was like a scene where like they were fighting with just like a hammer and some like things they had to find, right? And that's why I love this movie, because it feels very much like a video game. Like when you have to, when you have to adapt, right, in a fight sequence, and it's very fluid. And the combat was, it didn't feel like there was like a bunch of people just waiting for their turn to get to Tyler. I felt like they were all like on him, right? I love when movies do that. It feels just more like you said, immersive, more realistic, and also just the shots of them, the one take shots. It feels like you're actually like a part of that mission. Like you yourself is almost getting like extracted in a way. I think it's really great direction.
I agree. I completely agree. And also they keep in mind not to sacrifice the fun, and I appreciate that. And I think this movie is a lot bigger than the first movie, and that's what you want from your sequels is it for it to be more bigger, and also if a character is so mysterious like Tyler Rake, to explore more of his background. So we get Olga Kurylenko. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. It was a shock to see her here, but a welcome one at that. And she was the mother of his child that passed away. So that's a complicated relationship too. It's really cold because so now we see more backstory too, that he left the kid. It was just because he couldn't handle it. That was the main thing. It wasn't really for duty. The duty was an excuse. It was because he couldn't take it, because he couldn't fix it, he said. And I thought that was something really poignant, that conversation at the end. That was beautiful. Let me get your thoughts on that, and then let's move on to Idris Elba real fast.
Yeah, the story felt, like I said, very more personal in this one than the last one. The last one just felt like, it was a good setup for his character. He's a mercenary, obviously, and he has to take on these very daunting missions. But here it was affecting his family in a way, and perhaps this was like almost like his second chance at redemption, to make up for his wife, because he wasn't there. So I like that too. And also I like it was interesting that the younger boy, Sandros, he basically has like 2 uncles, Zarab and Tyler, and one of them, wasn't a part of his life much, but still went out of his way to save him and his mother. And the other one, was a big part of his life, but he's very toxic and abusive. So I just love that foil that they play with. Yeah,
and it's like what did they say? Well, they say blood is thicker than water, but I guess sometimes you can't really rely on your family, right? It's the people that come in your life that are really your family. And so I thought that was really interesting. That was like really ironic. And then plus the final battle took place in a church, and then plus Tyler has a scratch on his cheek, kind of resembling a cross if you examine it more closely. So I think the whole thing is like really a lot. They play on a lot of themes. That being said, let me get your so we have Idris Elba, which is pretty great to see. Thor and
that
Heimdall.
shocked me. I wasn't surprised. I thought maybe it's just because we just saw him in Phantom Liberty for Ubisoft,
right?
But that was cool. Yeah, we didn't get a name drop for his character. Is this? I don't know if this movie is this based on like a book or a video game series.
Yeah, so
it feels like there's a lot of lore they're establishing.
Sort of. So it's written by Anthony and Joe Russo, I believe, and it's called Ciudad. It's a graphic novel, and so they adapted it for silver screen or small screen, and they changed some elements around, but they're slowly catching up. So I don't know if they want to build a bigger universe. It seems that's the case. I would love if this universe contributes to, like, let's say, Tom Clancy's No Remorse with Michael B. Jordan. I think that would be cool, but I doubt that they'll do that because it's different, studios in charge. So for the most part, I wonder, because at the end we do see that Idris Elba's character lets Tyler and yeah, exactly, get basically like a pardon if they work with Idris Elba's like organization, and there's a top man, a boss, and Idris Elba alluded that he's like a hell of a bastard, and Tyler will like him a lot. I'm wondering, a lot of people are saying that maybe it's going to be Tom Hiddleston, which is going to be really meta or like kind of weird. I don't know. I took that when he was first saying stuff, I was thinking that, oh, he's going to announce a classic iconic character from old past action movies. And I was like, oh, but then now I don't know. It's going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger from Fubar.
Well, there was, funny you say that, because there was a Netflix promotion where Chris Hemsworth and Arnold Schwarzenegger were in an elevator together, and they were talking about, how he's part of the new, he's the chief action operator now. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe they want to do a crossover. I could see it in the works, because it feels like, well, Netflix, they try to establish their own kind of mini universes, and action movies now I feel like are following the trend. We've seen this with Taken, we've seen this with John Wick, where they have a good successful movie. Once that becomes like a cult following, which I love the first one, they build up a sequel, and then probably usually the third one is usually the end, but if they want to keep going, they can make spin-offs or sequels. So I could definitely see this having like a spin-off or like I said, a crossover with perhaps like Fubar or something.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, it's all in the same family too. It's on Netflix. I think it'll be easy to do. And then plus anyway, we have, if they want it, but the tones will clash too. So I wonder how they'll handle that. Like, I really wonder. Well, time will tell. I mean, I know that Chris Hemsworth is really busy at the moment, and he's battling his own issues too. So I don't know when the next movie will come out. I'm hoping soon, because I'm like desperate for another one of these movies. They're great. I mean, they're not for everybody. They're high octane action movies, but I love how they put in slices of the drama, and I think that's great. I think we need to see more of that in action. I mean, John Wick does the same thing. So that's why I think this type of movie stands out from the rest. And then plus Chris Hemsworth is awesome. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like Chris Hemsworth really shines in these very dark roles. I feel like sometimes when he takes on stuff like Thor or these very like dumb comedic roles, it's like a turn off from me. I feel like this was like perfect for him, to be honest. Just like you said, that stoic nature that he has. And I don't know, he blends into the role really well, and I love how he manages to have a dark past. It's almost like Barry in a way, but like he still wants more. And I just love how, like I said, how these films go into like different parts of the world, exposing a lot of, social, political corruption issues too. And I like that this movie, like you said, gave a lot more spotlight to some of the supporting casts. Nick and Yaz got a lot more screen time on here than they did in the last movie, where they were just kind of like in the background. So overall, it was a great movie, great action movie, great story in general. I'd probably give it 8 out of 10. How about you?
For sure, yeah. I really enjoyed the first movie. I think after this, I'm going to actually watch the first movie again. If you watch them both together, I think your mind is going to explode with the amount of testosterone that's pumping through your blood. It's great. These movies I think, are really fun. Again, they're not for everybody, but I think there's something there for at least everybody if you look deeper too. I think it's a masterclass at one-shots as well. That's sure. I'm glad a lot of action movies are doing this too, like we saw with John Wick 4, the shotgun scene. That's really awesome. Yeah, it's a great. The ensemble cast is amazing. I think at least the villain, you have to have a good villain too. So I think they nailed it with that. And yeah, I give this an 8 out of 10. A shout out to all my Georgians. I bet you guys are going to enjoy this one. But Dylan, why don't you take us away?
Well, guys, thank you for sticking around for this review. Check out our other reviews as well. We did Fubar not that long ago. Check that out. We do plenty of reviews, plenty of TV series, movies, game events, everything in between. But yeah, stick with us, guys. Leave a like, sub. Anything helps the channel. Let us know how we're doing if you enjoyed this movie, or let us know if you have any recommendations as well. But thank you so much, guys. And until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.